meditation, yoga, martial arts. And lately I've been cutting back on the routine so that I can focus on work uh, and catch up on the bills. So I'm catching up. Today's a holiday. Today's uh, Thanksgiving or Friendsgiving. And I'm going to do a light workout after the yoga. And I'm going to do the short version of the yoga because I really need to get a sweat in. I really need to do a little bit more than I've been doing. And I feel motivated from the Jocko Willenick audiobook I was listening to, Discipline Equals Freedom. It's free on YouTube, and there's remixed versions of his speeches from that book, and he reads it. So, I would check that out if you lack motivation or if you want more motivation and discipline in your daily routine. And I strongly encourage you, who's watching this, to get yourself on a daily routine of meditation, yoga, martial arts, or some similar thing, because there is really hard times coming. There's probably going to be a world war soon, and I recommend that you get into a daily routine to strengthen yourself, to prepare yourself for that. So, if you want to defend your home, your friends, your family, make your body and mind strong, do the meditation, do the yoga, do the martial arts every day on your own. With what you have, you can do your own daily routine, and you can see I have results from this kind of daily routine. So I'm about to start the meditation, and then we'll do the short version of the yoga, Ashtanga yoga, and then we'll do a quick 30-minute workout, which will be mostly shadow boxing. And we're doing it in the high intensity interval training format, where we'll do 30 seconds to a minute of full body cardio, 30 seconds to a minute of upper body, 30 seconds to a minute of lower body, and 30 seconds to a minute of core. And then over and over again for 30 minutes. So when we do that, we're probably going to be doing, kickboxing, kicking, boxing, and head movement over and over. I'm going to try to keep it simple because usually I do a whole lot of exercises and it kind of throws people off. So I'm going to do a simple version of the martial arts workout after the meditation and yoga. So I have my little caffeine drink. I recommend you have some if you want to do this routine. This is pre-workout with some vitamin C mixed in it. And it's nice to keep you alert for the meditation and the workout. So have your drink, have some water, and we'll get started with the meditation right now.
We do the practices with this aspiration to be a benefit to beings, not to harm them, to benefit them. And in our understanding, the best benefit is to actually, for beings to be liberated from cyclic existence. And we aim to become Buddhas in order to help beings to be free in this way. So generate those thoughts in your own way. So the Venerable Children has laid out this sadhana for us, helping us to generate these various mind states. And she starts by having us think about all of our potential, all of the kind of positive qualities that we can develop. Infinite love, compassion, wisdom, skillful means. So imagine what it would feel like to be those qualities. Just let yourself be love. wisdom. Try to feel the expansiveness and peace in your heart. The wisdom that it takes to have this kind heart. To be unencumbered in any way. Vast and expansive. You can take in everything that's happening in this world, reaching out to every being, human and otherwise, to benefit each one. So now imagine that these qualities of love, compassion, wisdom, skillful means appear in front of you in the form of Shakyamuni Buddha. So imagine this Buddha in front of you, in the space in front of you made of radiant, transparent light. He's sitting on a throne, above which is an open lotus flower and cushions of the sun and moon discs. This entire visualization is made of radiant, transparent light. But you're imagining a living being with a light body. So you feel yourself in the presence of a Buddha. But Buddha's body is golden in color. He wears the robes of a monastic. His right hand, with the palm down, rests on his right knee. And the earth-touching mudra. And his left hand is in his lap, holding a bowl of nectar. And this nectar is the medicine to cure our afflictions and all of our hindrances. And the Buddha's face is very beautiful. You can look at the Buddha's eyes. He's smiling. His eyes are smiling. He's looking at you with total acceptance. And as he looks at you, he's also encompassing all sentient beings. The Buddha's eyes are very peaceful, long and narrow. His lips are red and his earlobes are long. Imagine rays of light radiating from every pore of the Buddha's body. This golden light going out to all the parts of the universe, touching beings, carrying miniature Buddhas to help beings. And as they complete their work, they dissolve back into the Buddha. The Buddha is surrounded by the entire lineage of spiritual teachers, all the meditational deities, innumerable other Buddhas, Bodhisattvas, Arhats, Dakas, Dakinis, Dharma protectors. And at the side, near each spiritual mentor, is an elegant table, and on it are Dharma books. And the sounds of the Dharma fill the air. And they're all so happy that we're here doing this together. Imagine their minds just blissful and peaceful, gazing at all sentient beings. So you imagine that actually you are surrounded by all sentient beings in human form. Your mother of this life is on your left. Your father of this life is on your right. Any people you have difficulty with, you imagine in front of you, facing the Buddha, keeping them there for protection. Family and friends are nearby, countless strangers fill the space around you. And all of us are looking to the Buddha for guidance. So first we need to cultivate a sense of refuge. We think of all the dangers of cyclic existence. Just think about how things are not secure. We run into dissatisfaction often, dukkha often. And people, all the beings around us, all the sentient beings around us, are also in the same boat, floundering in cyclic existence. And many of them have not met any kind of teachings that will help them out of this quagmire. So we generate compassion. And now think of the wonderful qualities of the Buddha, Dharma, and Sangha, and generate this sense of confidence in them, in their ability to guide you out of all of these recurring problems. To take refuge, we need causes, this kind of concern, this kind of alarm, fear type, and also this confidence and faith, and the compassion. So it is possible, on the basis of your present life and mind, to free yourself from all of these undesirable experiences. It's a resolve to explore that possibility to the fullest. Feel great trust and confidence in the three jewels, and open your heart to rely upon them to guide you and others from all of these difficulties of cyclic existence, and bring us to the peace, liberation, and full awakening. So as we do these refuge verses, starting here, now we're on the top of page 21, we'll be taking refuge in the Buddha, and we imagine actually leading all of the sentient beings around us and going for refuge. And we visualize white, radiant light flowing from all of the Buddhas, the spiritual mentors, the Bodhisattvas, all of these holy beings flowing into us and all the beings around us. And this light completely purifies all of our destructive karmic imprints and afflictions. And it also brings all the realizations of the path. So put your hands in prayer position. Namo Guruvya. Namo Buddhaya. Namo Dharmaya. Namo Sanghaya. Namo Guruvya. Namo Buddhaya. Namo Dharmaya. Namo Sanghaya. Namo Guruvya. Namo Buddhaya. Namo Dharmaya. Namo Sanghaya. Namo Guruvya. Namo Buddhaya. Namo Dharmaya. Namo Buddhaya. Namo Dharmaya. Namaskaya. Namo Guruvya. Namo Buddhaya. Namo Dharmaya. Namasangaya. So feel that you've come under the protection of the three jewels. And now we turn our thoughts to others and think about how much we depend on other beings for everything that we have, everything we know, everything we use, everything we enjoy. Our food, clothing, resources of every kind. These come due to the efforts of others. Our knowledge, talents, good qualities, these too are developed due to the kindness of others. And our ability to practice the Dharma certainly depends on others who brought the teachings to us over the millennia by generating realizations in their mind and teaching. So this is a very great kindness, all of these things we want to bring to mind. Our innermost wish is to be free from suffering. And this is the case for everyone else as well. We want to be happy, and all beings want to be happy. And like us, they encounter many difficulties, problems, sufferings. And usually, actually, their difficulties are more so than our own. Not always, but often. And when we examine our capacity to help beings, we find that we're actually quite limited. And we know from our practice that if we can reduce our anger, our attachment, our ignorance, our various faults, and if we can increase all of our good qualities, we're really going to be in a position to benefit beings. Imagine if we had just this generous heart, gives so easily, takes delight in giving, the kind of ethics that doesn't harm, has that just ingrained fortitude, loving kindness, compassion, wisdom, we'll be in excellent position to help beings by having our good qualities developed. And if we develop them fully, like a Buddha does, then we'll be able to be of the greatest benefit to beings. So we generate this altruistic intention in order to be able to benefit beings most effectively. So as we take refuge and generate bodhicitta, imagine the lights flowing into you from all of these Buddhas and holy beings, and it's flowing into you and all the sentient beings around you. So we're on the top of page 22. I take refuge until I have awakened in the Buddhas, the Dharma, and the Sangha. By the merit I create by engaging in generosity and the other far-reaching practices, may I attain Buddhahood in order to benefit all sentient beings. I take refuge until I have awakened in the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Sangha. By the merit I create by engaging in generosity and the other far-reaching practices may I attain Buddhahood in order to benefit all sentient beings. I take refuge until I have awakened in the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Sangha. By the merit I create by engaging in generosity and the other far-reaching practices may I attain Buddhahood in order to benefit all sentient beings. So imagine the Buddha is so pleased with your altruistic intention, and a replica emerges from the Buddha, comes to the crown of your head, melts into golden light, flows into you. Feel that you and the Buddha have become inseparable. Feel very close to the Buddha and allow your mind to be transformed and inspired. Let go of all conceptions you have about yourself. Let go of any self-denigrating thoughts. Let go of the concept of inherent existence and meditate on emptiness. As your heart appears a small Buddha made of light, he radiates the light of wisdom and compassion in all directions throughout the entire universe. And this light transforms all sentient beings into Buddhas and all environments into pure lands, which are places where all the circumstances are conducive to practicing the Dharma and generating realizations. So imagine this. You've transformed all sentient beings into Buddhas and all environments into pure lands. In your imagination, well, why hasn't this become a reality? We sentient beings have bias, prejudice, we lack love, compassion, and joy. So now we want to wish ourselves and others to have all of these qualities. So we contemplate the four immeasurables. We do this to reinforce our own felt experience of love, compassion, joy, and equanimity for everyone, friends, strangers, enemies, relatives, people you don't like, people you don't trust, anyone, everyone. So as we say those four immeasurables, you want to listen to yourself say the words and contemplate as you recite. We'll pause between each of the four. May all sentient beings have happiness and its causes. May all sentient beings be free of suffering and its causes. May all sentient beings not be separated from sorrowless bliss. May all sentient beings abide in equanimity, free of bias, attachment, and anger. So, in order to just been aspiring towards. We need to purify our negativities, and we need a lot of merit. We need to abandon things and adopt things. So when we do this 7 limb prayer, this encompasses all this abandoning and adopting of things. So we'll pause after each line. And you want to put your hands in the prayer position, please. Reverently I prostrate with my body, speech, and mind. So imagine yourself and all the beings, the sentient beings around you, making prostrations to all the holy beings in front of you in the field of merit, repeatedly prostrating. And present clouds of every type of offering, actual and mentally transformed. So imagine offering everything beautiful to the Buddha and all the holy beings. You can fill the sky with offerings. Make it very lovely and beautiful. You can think of flowers and fields and just everything that you love. Offer to all the holy beings. You can do this repeatedly. I confess all my destructive actions accumulated since beginning this time. So now we do like a glance meditation of the 4 permanent powers. So for this, bring to mind something that you wish to purify, some fault or mistake. Bring it clearly to mind and generate regret for that. And then the other permanent powers of taking refuge in generating bodhicitta, which we're doing in the practice. The practice itself will be the remedial action, but make a determination not to do this action again. And rejoice in the virtues of all holy and ordinary beings. So think of common sentient beings like ourselves, the holy beings, and delight and rejoice in all of the virtue created by any kind of being. Let go of any jealousy, envy, and just rejoice in the goodness in the world. Use your own life experience. Think of things, people that you want to rejoice. And then the next verse. Please remain until cyclic existence ends. So now we offer a double dorje. This symbolizes long life. And we offer this to the holy beings. We do this requesting them to live long, to always be a part of our life. And you can do this multiple times in your imagination. And then the next verse. And turn the wheel of Dharma for sentient beings. So again, make this offering. You're offering with both hands this beautiful 1,000-spoke Dharma wheel, golden in color. Offering this to the teachers and the Buddhas to guide you and to continue to teach the Dharma. And then the 7th one. I dedicate all the virtues of myself and others to the Great Awakening. So now we steer these limbs toward full awakening of ourself and all beings. Now we'll offer the mandala. Here we imagine everything beautiful in the universe, offering it to all the holy beings with the wish that they will continue to teach and guide us, and that we can generate realizations in our mind. This ground anointed with perfume, flowers strewn mounts may rue, for land, sun, and moon, imagined as a Buddha land and offered to you. May all beings enjoy this pure land. The objects of attachment, aversion, and ignorance, friends, enemies, and strangers, my body, wealth, and enjoyments, I offer these without any sense of loss. Please accept them with pleasure and inspire me and others to be free from the three poisonous attitudes. Idam Guru Ratna Mandalakam Niryatayami. So imagine all the holy beings just delighted, and they receive your offerings. And the offerings melt into light and dissolve into them, and these all absorb into the Buddha's heart. And then immediately he radiates light back to you, filling your body and mind. And this light inspires you to accomplish the path to full awakening. So in order to progress along the path, we need to develop realizations. And in order to do this, we need the inspiration of the lineage of spiritual mentors, especially your principal teacher or your root guru, who is the one who has touched your heart deeply. If you don't have a specific teacher, just think about Shakyamuni Buddha, or maybe you have a connection in your mind with His holiness. And we make this request, page 25. Glorious and precious root guru, sit upon the lotus and moon seat on my crown, guiding me with your great kindness. Bestow upon me the attainments of your body, speech, and mind. And so then, at this point, you imagine that a replica of your teacher in the aspect of the Buddha emerges from the Buddha in front of you. And it comes to sit on a lotus and moon disc on the crown of your head, facing the same direction as you. So then this Buddha on the crown of your head is going to act as an advocate for you to request inspiration from the entire field of merit as we continue the request. So we're doing the long one on page 26. Buddha, unequal teacher and guide, venerable protector Maitreya, successor, superior Sangha prophesied by Buddha. To you three Buddhas and Bodhisattvas I make request. Buddha, head of the Shakya clan, the foremost guide, peerless in expounding emptiness. Manjushri, embodiment of the Buddha's complete wisdom. Exalted Nagarjuna, best of the superiors who sees the profound meaning. To you three crowning jewels of clear exposition I make request. Atisha, upholder of this great vehicle, who sees the profundity of dependent arising. Drone Rinpoche, elucidator of this good path. To these two ornaments of the world I make request. Avalokiteshvara, great treasure of Advaita's compassion. Manjushri, masteress flawless wisdom. Tsongkhapa, crown jewel of the snowy land sages. Losangrappa, I make request of your feet. Holder of the white lotus, embodiment of all the conqueror's compassion. Guide benefiting migrating beings in the land of snow mountains and beyond. Sole deity and refuge, Tenzin Gyatso, at your feet I make request. The eyes through whom the vast scriptures are seen. Supreme doors for the fortunate who would cross over to spiritual freedom. Illuminators whose wise needs vibrate with compassion. To the entire line of spiritual mentors I make request. So imagine all of the figures in the field of merit melting into light and dissolving into you. Into the central figure of the Buddha in front of you. All the Buddhas, the Bodhisattvas, the Arhats, Dakas, the Kimis, Dharma protectors, all of these beings melt into light and dissolve into the central figure of Shakyamuni Buddha. And now Shakyamuni Buddha embodies the three jewels, and this Buddha absorbs into the Buddha on the crown of your head. And then as we recite the Buddha's mantra, try to let your mind be very open and receptive. Imagine this white light flowing into you from the Buddha on the crown of your head. It purifies all your negativities, all your obscurations, and it generates within you the realizations of the stages of the path. So we'll recite the Buddha's mantra together. Tayata Om Mune Mune Maha Mune Soha. 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 Now, re-establish the visualization of Shakyamuni Buddha above the crown of your head, made of golden transparent, radiant light, a living being. And this Buddha melts into light and dissolves into you. Your body, speech, and mind become inseparable from those of the Buddha. And then we'll make the dedication prayers, starting on the page that we're on in the sadhana, which is 27. Due to this merit, may we soon attain the awakened state of Guru Buddha, that we may be able to liberate all sentient beings from their suffering. May the precious Bodhi mind not yet born arise and grow. May that born have no decline, but increase forevermore.
So that's the meditation on the Buddha. Next, we're going to do the short version of Ashtanga Yoga, and then do a short martial arts workout. So I'm going to play some audiobook that I started listening to yesterday.
Discipline equals freedom.
Discipline Equals Freedom by Jocko Willemick. And I'm going to cue it up to the parts where he talks about
Delayed
martial arts,
the step into bravery.
yoga, and fitness, and how this affects your body and your mind. I'm going to clean up the room here and get it ready for yoga. And we'll listen to this throughout the whole practice.
Laughter wins. Part 2. Actions. Physical training. Getting after it. Physical training. There are all kinds of benefits from physical training. You will be healthier. This is a fact. By working out, you will increase your endorphins, testosterone, growth hormones, cardiac volume, insulin sensitivity, and natural killer cells. Those changes will help prevent or treat the following health issues: high blood pressure, obesity, heart disease, type 2 diabetes, insomnia, and depression. Boom. Still not convinced? Working out will make you smarter. Yes, smarter. It improves blood flow to the brain. It boosts growth hormones that promote growth of new nerve cells. It improves synaptic plasticity, the ability for neurons to send and receive messages. It releases brain chemicals that help cognition, like dopamine, glutamate, norepinephrine, and serotonin. It also boosts the production of brain-derived neurotropic factor, a protein that helps with mental processes. But don't just take my word for it. Go. Do. Get some exercise done and pay attention to your mental state. You will feel more aware, sharper, and smarter. This is real. Stress, good and bad. Stress is good and bad. In order to improve, we need stress. We need to push the body and the mind in order to get better. One of our main physical reactions to stress is the release of the hormone cortisol into the body. It has a multitude of effects, including making glucose available to the brain, generating energy from stored reserves, and focusing energy on immediate threats rather than less urgent needs. It also raises blood pressure to optimize the flow of blood throughout the body. But stress can also be bad. If we're under too much stress and cortisol is being released into the body too often, it begins to have negative effects, like a car running in the red for extended periods of time. When cortisol levels remain consistently high, the immune system can become repressed, increasing blood pressure and causing hypertension, a sustained high blood pressure that causes damage to the heart and blood vessels. It can also encourage fat deposits and even cause some level of bone loss. Exercise is a form of stress and does cause the release of cortisol. However, just as exercise conditions the muscles and the heart, it also conditions the body to react properly to the release of cortisol and trains the body to keep cortisol levels balanced. Excessive regular release of cortisol can also be a significant factor in overtraining. When we push the body too hard, excessive cortisol leads to fatigue and a drop in performance. So you have to be careful not to stress the body and mind too much. But again, you must stress the body and mind some in order to improve. When? The biggest excuse not to work out is lack of time. Something always comes up. But there is one time of day that no one can take away from you. Pre-dawn. The military has a term, stand to. It means get up early and be ready for enemy attack. It has been a standard practice for many wars. For instance, in World War I, each man was expected to be awake well before first light, standing on the trench fire step, rifle loaded, bayonet fixed, ready to repel an attack. Further back in history, from Rogers Rangers' standing orders, all hands shall be awake, alert, and ready for action before dawn. Dawn's when the French and Indians like to attack. So, get up before the sun. Be ready to attack. Yes, that means get up early. This will be hard at first, but it will become normal. And once you are accustomed to it, early rising is guaranteed to make your day better. So get after it. Psychological edge. There are a slew of psychological advantages that come from early morning physical training. First, there is a psychological win over the enemy. Knowing that you are working harder than your adversaries gives you an advantage. It gives you confidence that you can overcome them in battle. Another advantage to waking up early and working out hard is that it demands discipline to do both. Now, some scientists have claimed that discipline dissipates the more it is used. That willpower is a finite resource that is reduced every time it is used during the day. This is wrong. That does not happen. To the contrary, I believe, and studies have also shown, that discipline and willpower do not go down as they are called into action. They actually get stronger. This is obvious if you actually try the experiment yourself. Before you go to bed, plan what workout you're going to do in the morning. Stage your workout clothes so you don't even have to think when you get up. Write down a list of things you need to accomplish the next day. Set your alarm clock for 4:30 a.m. and go to sleep. When the alarm clock goes off, get up. Put on your pre-staged clothes, brush your teeth, and go get your workout on, hard. Get done, shower, get dressed, and begin to crush your list of tasks for the day. When it is time for breakfast, see what happens. You won't want to eat junk. You won't want that disgusting donut. You will want some eggs and bacon, and that will happen at lunch too. You'll be feeling good, energized. You don't want to eat the worthless calories of pizza or French fries mind sharp. When you are on the path, you want to stay on the path. Unfortunately, the opposite is also true. Once you step off the path, you tend to stray far. When you don't prepare what you need to do the next day, when you sleep in and then skip your workout, and you don't start attacking the tasks that you have because you didn't write them down the night before, that is when you make bad decisions.
Begin the yoga.
That is when your will and discipline fail. You figure you might as well have that donut for breakfast, and once you've done that, you might as well put down 4 or 5 pieces of pizza for lunch. Doesn't matter anymore. You're off the path, and it's a disaster. Your will didn't break. It never showed up in the first place. So, get on the path of discipline and stay on the path. Discipline begets discipline. Will propagates more will. Hold the line across the line, and victory will be yours. Sleep. Sleep is a necessity. Humans need sleep. Failure to get enough sleep has serious side effects. Lack of sleep can cause negative hormonal changes, interfere with the metabolizing of glucose, increase blood pressure, and suppress the immune system. Less sleep also means less human growth hormone in your body, which means less muscle and weaker bones. Mentally, the brain is impacted as the ability to pay attention and concentrate begins to diminish, and problem solving and basic reasoning become less acute. Furthermore, over an extended period, there are psychological effects like paranoia and even hallucinations. But how much sleep is enough? Different people need different amounts of sleep. Newborns can sleep up to 17 hours a day. Toddlers sleep up to 12 hours a day. As people grow older, less sleep is required. Teens generally need 8 to 10 hours, and by the time people are full adults, 8 hours becomes the standard, though the actual number is between 7 and 9 hours depending on the individual. Some people genetically need even less sleep than that, but those people are rare. I am one of those people, but it isn't only genetics. You can also sleep less and fall asleep faster if you are in good physical condition, eating clean, and have a clear mind. For me, the better the condition I'm in and the cleaner I eat, the more quickly I will fall asleep and the less sleep I need. So while I do have short sleep genetics on my side, equally important is that I stay healthy and eat clean. And finally, I choose not to sleep in. I don't give in to the temptation of the warm blankets and soft pillow. I mobilize the will to get me out of bed and get into the game. Obviously, I'm an advocate of waking up early. But since sleep must be a priority to maintain health, how can we get enough sleep and still wake up early? The answer is simple. Go to bed earlier. Going to bed at 10 p.m. and waking up at 5 a.m. gets you a solid 7 hours. Go to bed at 9:55 p.m. and you can get up at 4:55 a.m., still get your 7 hours, and be up before the enemy. Try it. If you get up and get out of bed at 4:55, a vast majority of the world is still sleeping. You aren't. You are up getting after it. The world is yours when you are up before the enemy. There's no traffic. The gym is empty. There's no one to distract you or call you or send you some stupid text about something you don't care about. It's just you. So go to bed early and wake up early. People constantly ask me for the secret of getting up early. I tell them it is simple. Set your alarm clock and get out of bed when it goes off. That's it. Is it easy? No. Everyone likes to have a warm bed. Everyone needs just 5 more minutes of slumber in the morning. So they hit snooze. They roll over. They go back to sleep. No. Get up and get going. And one thing that will help you do that is going to bed earlier. earlier, which can be at least as hard, if not harder, than waking up. Falling asleep. Yes, it can be just as hard for some people to go to sleep early as it is to wake up, if not harder. So here's some steps to help that. Number 1, get tired. Yes, get tired. If you are not active throughout the day, you won't be tired. Getting a hard workout in the early morning will not only energize you during the day, but will also make you fall asleep faster at night. Getting a morning workout and another workout at lunch or after work will also get you tired. Unfortunately, you may find that working out just prior to going to bed will keep you awake. So try not to work out any closer than 2 hours before you want to sleep. Number 2, turn off the computer. Turn off the smartphone. Stop checking social media and stop watching one more YouTube video. Sure, there is some science that says that the light from the computer and phone screens tricks your mind into thinking it is daylight and time to get up. But on top of that, the internet is filled with professionals that create content with the sole purpose of getting you to click on it. Yes, clickbait is real, and just like a bait used in fishing, it is a trick to get you hooked. So don't click it. You will get nothing positive from it at all. Number 3, read. If your mind is still active when you reach your bedtime, that's okay. Get into bed and get a book and start reading. Reading is relaxing. It settles your mind and it also makes you smarter. So do it. And if the book you are reading is too good and makes you want to stay up and read more, simple, don't read that book. Read a boring one. An educational one, but a boring one. That will send you to sleep. Number 4, most important, the key to getting to sleep early is getting up early. No, it might not help you tonight, but tomorrow night it will. If you need 7 full hours of sleep and you want to get up at 4:30 a.m., that means you need to go to bed at 9:30 p.m. But it can be hard to force yourself to sleep at 9:30, so you stay up until 11:30. You should still get up at 4:30. Yes, that will only be 5 hours of sleep, and yes, you will likely feel tired throughout the day, which is actually good, because at the end of the day, you want to be tired. Now you can go to bed at 9:30. You are now on track. Number 5, do it every day. People ask me if I still get up early on the weekends. Yes, for a bunch of reasons. Obviously, the weekend is only 2 days, so I want to get up and take advantage of it. I get up early, get my workout done, and complete any must-do tasks as quickly as possible. That allows for time to relax and enjoy without things hanging over your head. The other reason I wake up early on weekends is to keep my sleep pattern consistent. If I sleep into 5:30 or 6 a.m. on a Saturday, I will likely stay awake a couple extra hours on Saturday night, which now has me sleeping in until 7 on Sunday, which now has me awake even later on Sunday night, which means when I go back to waking up at 4:30 on Monday, I haven't gotten the sleep that I need. So don't break the cycle. Get up early every day. If you need extra sleep, take a power nap. Power naps are real. If you are feeling tired, they can be a lifesaver. And if you are feeling tired due to lack of sleep, they can be very powerful. I have a technique for power naps that is a combination of 2 things I learned. The first was in high school. My anatomy and physiology teacher was a high-energy, passionate teacher. But if you went into his classroom during lunch, you would find him sitting in a chair with his feet elevated on the lab table, sleeping. He did it just about every day. One day I asked him about it. He said his goal was to elevate his feet above his heart and sleep for 10 to 15 minutes before he ate his lunch. He said the nap gave him energy. Elevating his feet above his heart took the strain off the circulatory system in his lower body and helped move some of the blood that might have pooled in his feet and legs. I began to try it occasionally, and it certainly felt good. But I really noticed it when I got to BUDS, the Basic SEAL Training course. Obviously, we were operating in a fairly sleep-deprived environment there on an almost daily basis, and the schedule was very tight, going from evolution to evolution throughout the day on a strict timeline. But there were some holes in the schedule, usually 10 to 15 minutes a couple of times a day for us to prepare for our next evolution and use the bathroom. During those breaks, if I got the chance, I would lie down on the floor, put my feet up on my bed, set my alarm clock for 6 to 8 minutes, and sleep. Of course, I was tired, so I would fall asleep very quickly, and when the alarm would go off, I would wake up and feel completely refreshed. It was awesome. When I got to the SEAL teams, I used the same technique and found it especially helpful during long patrols in the field. When we formed a perimeter for a break, and I wasn't on security, I would immediately elevate my feet and take a power nap. The effects were even more obvious since on a patrol, we were on our feet for many hours carrying a heavy load. I still use this effective technique when I am overly tired. Warning. Be careful about letting your 6 to 8 minute nap turn into a 2-hour slumber. If you do this, you will have trouble falling asleep at night, which leads to trouble waking up in the morning. That means there's a higher chance you will fall off the early morning schedule. The workouts. Everyone wants to know, what should a workout actually consist of? And first of all, let me say this. The most important thing to do is something. Anything. Walk, jog, calisthenics, swim, lift some weights, hike, stretch, do burpees, play a game of basketball, or go get on the jiu-jitsu mat. Some people aren't sure what to do for a workout. That is often just an excuse. Exercise doesn't need to be some complex, multi-level, multi-dimensional, scientifically proven methodology, but it does need to be something. Once you begin doing something, it is a good idea to track it. Recording weights, repetitions, and times is useful. The records allow you to track progress. They can serve as goals. They also let you know when you're overtraining. But it is important to pay attention to your state at the end of a workout. The more experienced you become at working out, the easier this is. You will know when to push. You will know that there are days to hold back. My workouts are divided into some broad types of movements. Pull, push, lift, squat. In addition to those, the workouts focus working the gut and metabolic conditioning, or METCON. For the purposes of this field manual, I have established 3 basic levels of exercises: beginner, intermediate, advanced. This is only a guide. As you become stronger, more experienced, and more in tune with your body and your desired outcomes, make adjustments. Read and learn. Try new systems. Learn new exercises. Try new movements and new sports. Mix it up and have fun. Push yourself. But do so in a measured way so you can avoid burnout, overtraining, and injury. To see the actual workouts themselves, go to the written version of this book or the digital version of this book. All the workouts are listed in the appendix. Again, use the workouts as a guide. Learn about your own body. Push yourself. Most important, be consistent. And consistency starts with getting in the gym. If you are tired or sore or burned out, don't just give up completely. Go to the gym and stretch. Move. Do some light exercises, but keep the routine in place. Too often, people take a day off. Then that turns into 2, and 2 into 3, and then they've gone a week without getting in a good workout. So, maintain the routine. Maintain the discipline. Building the home gym. Having a gym in your home eliminates all kinds of excuses. There's nothing more convenient than having your gym co-located with your domicile. I have had a garage gym since I've had a garage. But garage gyms don't need to be in a garage. They can go anywhere. Basements, spare bedrooms, offices, backyards, front yards, patios, carports, anywhere. And just like anything else in life, you do what you can with what you've got. Once you have carved out some space, it is time to start getting equipment in place. Start with a pull-up bar. You can mount one just about anywhere, and once you have a pull-up bar, you can work your whole body with all the varieties of pull-ups, push-ups, gut work, and squats. Another useful and relatively cheap piece of equipment is gymnastic rings. They can also be mounted just about anywhere and allow a great number of exercises, including ring dips, ring pull-ups, ring push-ups, L-sits, all kinds of various holds, and countless variants of each of those. Next up is a squat rack, which should include a pull-up bar and some kind of dip bar attachment. With a squat rack, a barbell and weights are needed. Rubber bumper plates allow for dynamic lifts like the clean and jerk and the snatch. That's it. That's all you need. The basic setup should go a long way in achieving exceptional fitness. Beyond that, there are countless implements to include in your arsenal when time and budget allow. Kettlebells are probably the next addition, then a rowing machine and/or an air bike. A glute ham developer is another piece of equipment that is definitely nice to have at home. Medicine balls, plyometric boxes, bands, chains, club bells, sledgehammers are also fun to use. But while all those pieces of equipment are nice to have and can add some variety to training, none of them are really necessary. And although I have all those in my gym, I still most consistently use the basic equipment: pull-up bar, dip bars, rings, squat rack, and barbell with bumper plates. Martial arts. Everyone should train in martial arts just as everyone should eat. But just as food is different and varies greatly in how it affects your body, not all martial arts are created equal. There are three broad forms of martial arts: grappling, striking, and weapons. Grappling uses leverage and holds to control or submit your opponent. Striking uses punches, kicks, knees, elbows, headbutts, and any other body part to hit the opponent. Martial arts with weapons obviously utilize a variety of weapons, including sticks, knives, and, in the modern world, firearms. Perhaps the most critical form of self-defense is the mind. By being smart and aware, you can avoid situations that are likely to expose you to danger. That being said, there are times when your mind and your intelligence can no longer help you. That is the reality. In those cases, the ultimate form of self-defense is obviously the firearm. It is an equalizer without parallel and is simply unmatched in its ability to eliminate an attacker regardless of size and strength. If a person truly needs self-protection in a high-threat area, there is no substitute for the firearm. Even in an area that might be considered low threat, there are no guarantees. There have been horrific home invasions, carjackings, kidnappings, and other vicious and violent attacks in some of the most prestigious neighborhoods in the world that were also considered to be the safest. There is no choice but to be prepared. Of course, mishandled firearms are extremely dangerous and can cause serious injury and death to the owner or other innocent people if they are not handled with the four principles of firearm safety constantly in mind. 1. Treat every gun as if it is loaded. 2. Never point your gun at something you are not willing to destroy. 3. Keep your finger off the trigger until your sights are on target. 4. Always be sure of your target and what is behind it. Additionally, firearms should always be stored in a safe place where they cannot fall into the wrong hands. Most important, without proper training, possessing a firearm is useless or even more dangerous to its owner than not having one. Learning how to shoot quickly and accurately while under stress is absolutely mandatory if one is going to own a firearm. This means finding a good instructor at a quality range to participate in firearms training. Safety is paramount in firearms training. When treated properly and with respect, firearms training is safe. Not only does it prepare you for worst case scenario confrontation, but also provides additional benefits even if you never need to utilize your firearm for self-protection. Firearms training builds hand-eye coordination, speed, concentration, and instincts. It demands repetitive movement to develop muscle memory and demands a high level of proprioception when shooting in a dynamic situation. Finally, training competitively for speed and accuracy conditions you for high-pressure situations by teaching the need to relax, detach, get control of breathing, and focus on the immediate task at hand. But firearms are not always available. There are many places in the world where carrying a gun is illegal. There are also times where firearms malfunction, so it is important to know how to defend yourself in unarmed situations, which brings us back to martial arts. First, let me say that the martial arts are very emotional for some people. Their martial art becomes their religion, and they become blinded by it. Martial arts are not static. They evolve all the time. If you do not evolve with them, you will be left behind. Picking one martial art versus another, or saying that one martial art is better than another martial art, drives some people crazy. I do not engage in irrational, theoretical discussions on which martial art is best. There is no reason to theorize anymore. The Ultimate Fighting Championship, or UFC, put many theories to the test. The wars in Iraq and Afghanistan also put many theories about hand-to-hand combat to the test. Finally, every person now carries a video camera in their pocket, and there are thousands of street fights and confrontations to watch on the internet. With all that information readily available, there is no need to theorize anymore. It is easy to see what works and what doesn't. Furthermore, it is also obvious that martial arts are not stagnant. They evolve. People develop new techniques and new moves to counter other techniques and other moves. But the fundamental principles do not change. They only become reinforced. With all this information available, and with so many theories now tested in the cage, on the street, and in combat, martial arts are no longer just a theory. They're a simple, pragmatic reality. So here are my recommendations on which martial arts to learn and how to proceed down the path of learning martial arts. Start with Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. It is a form of grappling that is highly advanced because for the most part, the actual fighting takes place on the ground. This is a key point because our first form of self-defense is to get away. Yes, run. If you are confronted by another person or a group of people, the best thing you can do is run away, avoid the conflict. This is relatively easy if someone is trying to strike you with punches or kicks. They do not have control over you, so you can simply run away from them. You have won. The problem comes in a self-defense situation when someone is grabbing you. Now they are preventing your first line of defense, running away. As soon as someone grabs you, you are in a grappling scenario, and one of the most critical parts of Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu is escaping from someone's grip so you can run. Oftentimes, an attacker will take you to the ground in order to prevent you from escaping their grip. When this happens, the ability to ground fight is used not to stay on the ground, but to get up and get away from the attacker. The first goal of a beginner in Jiu-Jitsu is not to get the fight to the ground, but to get up off the ground and get away. This is an important distinction for people who believe the goal of self-defense in Jiu-Jitsu is to get the attacker to the ground. This is not true. The goal is to get away. But, as has been seen over and over again, fights often end up on the ground, and therefore a person must be prepared for it. Not training in Jiu-Jitsu because you don't want to go to the ground is like not learning to swim because you don't want to go in the water. It doesn't make sense. The safest way to deal with the water is to be comfortable in it. Just as being comfortable on the ground is the best way to deal with that scenario should it unfold in real life. Another reason I recommend starting martial arts by learning Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu is because it is the most complex of the martial arts. Although there are a finite number of basic moves and positions, there is an infinite number of moves beyond the basics, and more are developed every day in this constantly evolving art. this unending depth in jiu-jitsu, it is also the most cerebral of martial arts. It provides incredible mental stimulus and a never-ending challenge to learn, develop, and improve. Jiu-jitsu never gets old. The next martial art I recommend learning is boxing. Boxing is an incredibly effective striking art despite its relative simplicity. There are only two weapons in boxing, the left hand and the right hand. But with those two weapons, an incredible advantage can be gained if you know how to throw them in effective combinations. Other critical elements learned in boxing are angles, movement, both of which are based heavily on footwork, and speed, which are utilized in both the offense and defense of boxing. With basic boxing knowledge, a person can throw effective punches and avoid being punched, both extremely useful assets when attempting the primary goal of self-defense, run. Boxing develops the ability to hit quickly, avoid being hit, and run away from the area of confrontation. The next two martial arts to invest time into are Muay Thai and wrestling. They both add a plethora of options and skills to any fighter. Muay Thai adds a massive arsenal of striking options to a fighter. Where boxing utilizes only the fists, Muay Thai utilizes the fists, the elbows, the knees, and the shins in very aggressive combinations that are absolutely devastating in a fight. Muay Thai is also about pain and the ability to withstand pain. The conditioning of the shins to kick and shield kicks, as well as the conditioning of the body and legs to absorb punishment, is brutal and requires an iron will. Muay Thai also offers great work in striking from the clinch position, when an opponent is grabbing you by the head and or arms. The strikes from this close range, especially the knees and elbows, are vicious. Techniques are also taught to trip or sweep the opponent to the ground that are powerful and effective. Wrestling is a grappling art, perhaps the most widely known and practiced. It is an amazing sport for conditioning of both the mind and the body. The physical grind of wrestling hardens the body and mind without mercy. On top of the conditioning and mental toughness derived from wrestling, it is also king of position in martial arts, meaning a good wrestler can decide what position they will be in during a confrontation. No other martial art provides the practitioner a better ability to dictate the position of a fight with one simple idea. The main focus of wrestling is to get an opponent to the ground and keep them there. This means wrestling increases the ability not only to take an adversary to the ground and keep them there, but also the ability to defend yourself from being taken to the ground. So, if you are more skilled in wrestling than your opponent, you can dictate where you fight. If you are a better striker than your opponent, you can defend their takedown and win the fight on your feet. If your opponent is a better striker, you can take them to the ground and defeat them with superior grappling. Unfortunately, submission holds do not exist in wrestling, so there are no techniques taught on how to actually finish fights. That being said, there are some practitioners of what is known as catch wrestling who continue to teach extremely effective submission holds that were outlawed by the sport as wrestling gained popularity. Once a good base is established in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, boxing, wrestling, and Muay Thai, there are plenty of other martial arts to explore. Judo is a fantastic art and has very effective takedowns, especially against an opponent wearing a jacket or shirt that can be grabbed, which is often the case. Once on the ground, Judo has many similarities with Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, and many of the same techniques are taught. In areas where there might not be any Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu schools, Judo is the next best replacement. The Russian art of Sambo is also an extremely effective grappling art with an emphasis on leg locks. There are other martial arts that can be good to look into, such as Krav Maga and Sistema, both of which focus on self-defense as its primary mission. Martial arts like Eskrima and Kali from the Philippines, also known as Arnis, which focus on fighting with sticks and knives. Also, the Dog Brothers have pushed the limit in full contact weapons sparring, and in that effort have garnered real-world knowledge beyond what was previously available. The list could go on and on. There's no reason to ever stop training and learning martial arts. Of course, it is good to be prepared to handle a self-defense situation, but the benefits of martial arts training go far beyond self-defense. Of course, you get physically conditioned. You also get mentally tougher. Real martial arts are hard. They are a mental and physical grind. If the martial art you are training in is easy, it isn't likely doing you much good. Martial arts also get you used to being in uncomfortable situations and continuing to fight on. This is important in any endeavor. Martial arts will make you better. So, train. Don't think about it. Don't take time to get in shape before you start. Just go start. The rest will come. Where to train? When picking a good jiu-jitsu academy, first things first, find some schools that are in your immediate area. Proximity is important. The more convenient it is to get to training, the more often you will be able to train. So find some schools that are close to your home or work or some other place where it isn't an out-of-the-way gut check to show up and train. Once you have identified some academies close by, go and pay a visit. The atmospheres in gyms can vary greatly. Some are very traditional, demand matching uniforms, bowing to instructors and to the mat, and are run in a very rigid manner. Other schools do not operate with that tradition. There is no bowing. A wide variety of uniforms can be seen on the mat. Instructors are called by their first names instead of master or sensei or professor. I have trained in both these types of schools. I am fine with both, and both types have produced world champions. You may end up preferring one style or another, but when you show up, don't have any preconceived ideas of what the school will be like. Also, don't just show up and watch. Bring your gear and participate. Evaluate the class. How was it taught? What was the attitude of the instructor and the other students? Talk to the students. What are their goals? Are their goals similar to yours? Was there much ego on the mat? Did anyone try to rip your head off? What about the instructor? Depending on where you live, the instructor may or may not be a black belt. While a black belt instructor is optimal, some areas of the world just don't have it. That's okay. A brown belt or a purple belt can give great instruction as well. There could be some concern about legitimacy of the lineage of the instructor as well. Luckily, the internet has solved most of that. A quick internet search can tell you more about the instructor, where they got their black belt, what competitions they have won, and how long they have been training. Do some research, and even ask some knowledgeable people in the area or on the web. Once you are confident the instructor is legit, assess their personality. Was he or she personable? Did they teach clearly and methodically? Were they having fun? Also, with regard to the instructor, remember jiu-jitsu is not a religion, and a jiu-jitsu instructor is not a god. So, while they deserve respect, just as any other person does, they should give respect as well, even to brand new white belt students. Jiu-jitsu should not feel like a cult at all. Bottom line, jiu-jitsu should be fun, friendly, and engaging. You should look forward to going to jiu-jitsu because you know you will get pushed mentally and physically, while jiu-jitsu will absolutely be humbling, tiring, and frustrating. If you don't enjoy it, you're either letting your ego get in the way or you are in the wrong school. Facing a threat. Obviously, training is the best way to prepare to face threats. But there's a difference between a training scenario at the gym or at the range and a real confrontation on the street. How can you be ready for that? And how should you react? The first thing to do is train. Train hard. Train for worst case scenarios. Train for things to go wrong by putting yourself in horrible training situations and finding your way out of them. The next most important concept is avoidance. Yes, avoid danger. Stay away from high threat areas. But we can't always avoid high threat areas, and sometimes the high threat area doesn't avoid us. In the world today, conflict and danger can occur anytime and anywhere. So it is important to maintain situational awareness at all times. Pay attention to your surroundings. Look at suspicious people. Look at unsuspicious people. What are they doing? Where are they going? What are they looking at? Assess. While you assess, think of contingencies. Where's your closest escape route? Where's the closest cover concealment? Cover being a place to shield you from bullets, and concealment being a place to hide. If you are maintaining situational awareness, you should be very hard to surprise. If you sense something is going wrong, or you sense a threat, proactively move away from it. Walk to the other side of the street. Accelerate your car. Walk out the door. Don't wait for things to get worse. If you do get surprised and you are caught in a bad situation, act. If you can run away from an assailant, do it. If you can't run because they have a hold of you, attack them. Put all your training to use as quickly and as violently as possible. As soon as you can break free, do it and run. If shooting starts, get down. Call the police at the first opportunity. If the shooting is single shots being fired at a slower pace, run immediately and keep running. If the shooting is rapid fire, find some solid cover to get behind. Wait for a lull. When the lull comes, run. That may be your only chance. If you are trapped in a room with an active shooter outside, barricade yourself. If there is an ideal hiding place, hide. If not, prepare to attack them as soon as they enter the room. Get anyone in the room with you on board and ready to swarm the attacker. If you are carrying a firearm, use it to eliminate any immediate threat to your life or the life of someone else. Use extreme caution when using a firearm in any situation. Know your target. Know the backdrop. And recognize that you might not know who is a good guy and who is a bad guy. The police might also see you as a threat. Some police officers might be in plain clothes. So if you confidently know your target and have to use your weapon, do it quickly and efficiently. Then put it away and do your best to identify yourself as a friendly. Fuel, feeding the machine. Balance. Homeostasis is the tendency to move toward a state of balance. For instance, in a house, the thermostat keeps the temperature in balance. In the summer, it turns on the air conditioner when it gets too hot, and in the winter, it turns on the heat when it gets too cold. Homeostasis is being maintained. The body also tries to maintain a state of balance in many ways. Like the house, the body maintains a balanced temperature by shivering to heat or sweating to cool. Osmoregulation is the regulation of water content in the body. In order to maintain balance, the body uses thirst to increase water levels and sweat and urine to expel excess water. The body also uses systems to maintain the balance of acidity, blood pressure, sodium and potassium concentrations in the blood, and plasma ionized calcium. Failure to maintain the proper balance in these systems can cause significant health problems. There is another balance our bodies maintain that we have a huge influence over. It is our blood glucose level, what we commonly call our blood sugar level. We can directly influence our blood sugar levels by what we eat. When we eat carbohydrates, our blood sugar levels go up. When we eat a lot of carbohydrates, our blood sugar levels go up a lot. The primary action our bodies take to regulate high blood sugar levels is to release the hormone insulin into our blood from the pancreas. Once released, insulin pushes the sugar in the blood into fat cells and also slows down the process of fat in the fat cells being pulled out and used for energy. Obviously, when your body is putting fat into fat cells and not using your fat for energy, you get fatter. In order to use to fat in your body for energy, the body must have gone through its most readily available source of energy, glucose or sugar in the blood. Once that is depleted, the body begins to utilize fat for energy. You can deplete that sugar in the blood by exercising until it's gone, fasting until it's gone, or adjusting your carbohydrate intake. There are other extremely negative effects of continued elevated insulin levels in the blood beyond gaining or maintaining body fat. Consistent spikes of insulin in the blood can lead to insulin resistance, which can eventually lead to type 2 diabetes. Other long-term impacts that prolonged elevated insulin levels can cause are heart disease, diabetic retinopathy or blindness, strokes, and kidney failure. Not good. So, the solution seems obvious. Stop eating carbohydrates, or at least minimize carbohydrate intake. Why is that so hard? The answer is simple. Carbohydrates are addictive. Yes, sugar is like a drug in your brain and causes neurochemical responses similar to drugs like heroin. Addicted to sugar. Sugar truly is addictive. It stimulates the same parts of the brain as heroin and cocaine. When you have it, you want more of it. And you know this to be true, that's why you can't stop eating it. And when you do stop eating it, you will feel withdrawal, headache, irritation, anxiety, lies. The lies will come, and they will come from you. The lies you will tell yourself are, it's no big deal. You can just have a little. It isn't worth it to feel this bad. The body needs carbs. You will rationalize and start to listen to these lies. Don't. Stay strong. Get off the sugar train. Get off the addiction. Stop eating sugar. Fuel. The modern diet has been around for about 10,000 years. That is when man figured out how to plant some foods, grow them, harvest them, make them easier to digest, and store them. These foods were grains: wheat, rice, corn. Our bodies have not adapted to eating grains yet. When we eat grains, they are turned to sugar in our stomachs. The insulin level spikes and punishes our bodies internally. So it is better to eat what we've evolved to eat. That is the diet of Paleolithic man, or caveman. Here's what that diet consists of: beef, preferably grass-fed; poultry, preferably free-range; fish, eggs, nuts, vegetables, fungi, roots, some dairy, full-fat butter, cream, yogurt, cheese, and then fruit. Do not eat these things: grains, potatoes, refined salt, refined sugar, processed oils like margarine, legumes. Eating a paleo or caveman diet flips the standard American diet on its head from a macronutrient perspective. Instead of eating mostly carbohydrates with minimum fat, this diet consists of mostly fat, then protein, and finally minimal carbohydrates. Some people use the 80-20 rule, meaning they stick with the clean paleo eating 80% of the time, and then the other 20% of the time they eat whatever they want. The problem is that the 80-20 becomes 60-40, and then 40-60, and then 20-80, and then all bets are off. Don't follow the 80-20 rule, follow the 100% rule. That might turn into the 99% rule, and that is okay. But the 80-20 rule isn't a rule. It's a step down the slippery slope. We know sugar is addictive. You are an addict. There's no such thing as an addict who is allowed to use their drug of choice 20% of the time, whether it's alcohol or cocaine or heroin. You are in the same boat. Going cold turkey and holding the line is the best way to stay on track. One Once you have spent enough time staying 100% clean and you are adapted to that method of eating both mentally and physically, you can make some excursions to the dark side. I have an occasional mint chocolate chip milkshake or some other delicious but not nutritious treat. And I make sure I earn it beforehand with some serious extreme physical activity. Over time, you will realize that you have lost your sweet tooth. You will also realize that the after effects, the sugar rush, the sugar crash, and the lack of energy the next day make excursions to the dark side highly undesirable and will encourage you to stay clean. I have some treats that make it easier to stay clean. I eat a couple of squares of 80% plus dark chocolate dipped in coconut oil. I have a small glass full of cream with little MCT oil and a dash of chocolate milk powder. Sometimes I'll have whipped cream with nuts on it. If you're on a strict diet, each one of those treats will taste like the richest, most satisfying dessert you have ever had. Now, there are times during travel and work and life when the right foods simply are not available. In an airport or an office party or a restaurant where you are having a business meeting. My solution to that is very simple. Don't eat. It's called a fast and is actually very good for you. Fasting. Newsflash, you don't have to eat. Fasting is a gift. All those times you're at a party or the airport or on a train and they don't have any good healthy food for you to eat, the answer is simple. Don't eat. Often, not eating, fasting, is beneficial for you. Here are some of the physiological benefits that fasting appears to bring. It improves function of cells, genes, and hormones. Induces loss of body fat, reduces risk of insulin resistance and type 2 diabetes, reduces oxidative stress and inflammation, induces cell repair processes, increases brain-derived neurotropic factors, increases levels of endorphins, induces detoxification process. There are also some psychological benefits that I find very real. First of all, fasting demands that you exercise your will. It is not easy. In this modern age, we are surrounded by food all day, every day. Your caveman survival instinct, which is afraid of starving, screams at you. Eat that food. Eat as much as you can. This might be your last chance. Don't fall for that. This isn't the last food you will ever see. In fact, you will see some more food in about 10 minutes. You don't need it. You won't die without it. In fact, just the opposite is true. In this age, much of the food around is actually trying to kill you. It is poison. Donuts? Poison. Soda? Poison. Potato chips? Poison. You don't need it. Another huge benefit of fasting is that it recalibrates your hunger demand signals. We often think we're starving after a few hours without food. I haven't had anything to eat since breakfast, we shout at 1:15 in the afternoon. We literally say, I'm starving. You are not starving. Humans can survive 30 days without food. You can make it the next few hours. You can actually make it a few days without any issue. I fast 24 hours fairly regularly. I do 72-hour fasts approximately every 3 months. And you know what? They aren't that big of a deal. When I am fasting, I still do everything I would normally do if I were eating. I work out, train jiu-jitsu. I drink water, some tea, maybe eat some sunflower seeds in the shell just to have something to chew on. But fasting isn't that hard and you will feel better at the end of it. Fasting will recalibrate what hunger is to you. You will realize that you aren't hungry most of the time. You are just bored. And at the end of a fast, your food will taste better too. Repair and maintenance, injury prevention and recovery. Stretching. Stretching is an important part of being physically fit. It improves range of motion, helps in recovery, and also also prevents injuries. There are a multitude of stretching routines out there, from ancient forms of yoga to present-day innovations from people like Pavel Tsatsouline and programs like Kelly Starrett's Mobility WOD. Explore those and find the stretches that work best for you. Some basic stretches that I find most useful are the kneeling hip flexor stretch, swimmer stretch, Cossack stretch, hip external rotation stretch, reverse sleeper stretch, couch stretch, downward dog, and the cow face pose. You can also stretch during your warm-ups and your workouts by ensuring that you use a full range of motion during the exercises, especially during warm-up sets when doing slow repetitions. For instance, when doing a slow squat during warm-up, make sure it is not only slow, but also makes it through the entire range of motion of the squat, perhaps even a little farther than you might go when performing the exercise in weight. The same thing goes for exercises like dips, push-ups, and pull-ups. When warming up, go slow and go through the entire range of motion, even pushing a little bit past normal at the top and bottom of the exercise. Like anything else in health and fitness, stretching requires consistency. So figure out what movements are most beneficial for you. Don't pick too many. Stretching can be done in as little as 10 to 15 minutes, but it needs to be done. So make it part of your routine, then stick to your routine. Dealing with injuries and illness. You are going to get injured. You are going to get sick. Regardless of how careful you are in your training, how clean you eat, and how healthy you live, you are still human. Injuries and illness will occur. My theory for overcoming injuries and illnesses is simple. Do what you can. If you are sick or injured, don't use that as an excuse to skip workouts or stay in bed all day. Do what you can. Hurt your knee? Work your upper body. Work the good leg. Hurt your shoulder? Time to work on your one-arm pull-ups and push-ups. Focus on your core and legs until your shoulder heals up. Tendinitis from using your grip too much? Sounds like it is time to focus on sprinting and jumping plyometrics. Got a little cold? Flu? Same thing. Do what you can. Maybe it's just going for a walk, a couple sets of sit-ups and push-ups, but don't just stay in bed all day. Now, sometimes you get plain knocked out by illness or a virus. If it is that bad and your body absolutely needs rest, good. Listen to your body and take the rest. Also, don't bring your disease to the gym to spread around. Work out at home. Same thing with injuries. Some injuries prevent you from doing the physical things you like to do. Good. Do what you can. Work on some skills that you can do. Take up a guitar, write a book, draw, paint, compose a song, blog, create, learn, do something. Take advantage of physical injuries and sickness by doing something you normally don't have time for. In other words, get after it. Do. Don't just read this book. Don't just listen to the podcast. Don't just watch videos online. Don't just take notes. Don't just study them. Don't just share them with your friends. Don't just plan. Don't just mark your calendar. Don't just get motivated. Don't just talk. Don't just think. Don't just dream. No. None of that matters. The only idea isn't going to execute itself. And the book isn't going to write itself. And the weights out in the gym, they're not going to move themselves. You have to do it. And you have to do it now. And that means you gotta stop thinking about it and stop dreaming about it and stop researching every aspect of it and reading all about it and debating the pros and cons of it. Just start doing it. You want to improve? You want to get better? You want to get on a workout program or a clean diet? You want to start a business? You want to write a book or make a movie or build a house or a computer or put together some mobile application? You want to improve? You want to get better? Go. You want to improve? You want to get better? Take that first step and make it happen. Get after it. Get after it. Here and now.
I must not fear. Fear is the mind killer. I must not fear. Fear is the mind killer. Fear is the little death that brings total obliteration. I will face my fear. I will permit it to pass over me and through me. And when it is gone past, I will turn the inner eye to see its path. Where the fear has gone, there will be nothing. Only I will remain. I must not fear. Fear is the mind killer. Fear is the little death that brings total obliteration. I will face my fear. I will permit it to pass over me and through me. And when it is gone past, I will turn the inner eye to see its path. Where the fear has gone, there will be nothing. Only I will remain. What's in the box? What's in the box? What's in the box? Pain. Pain. What's in the box? What's in the box? What's in the box? Pain. Pain. What's in the box? What's in the box? What's in the box? Pain. Pain. What's in the box? What's in the box? What's in the box? Pain. Pain. You've heard of animals chewing off a leg to escape the trap? That's an animal kind of trick. A human would remain in the trap, endure the pain, feigning death that he might kill the trapper and remove a threat to his kind. Why are you doing that?